2020 presidential election coverage starts now. Alright everyone, so this is OurProgress's most recent model. It was last updated October 19th, 2020, which is today, at 1:20 p.m., which is basically an hour ago. And as you can see, Joe Biden has an 87.8% probability of winning the Electoral College against Donald Trump's 12.2% probability, according to the OurProgress forecast. They say that Joe Biden is very likely to win the Electoral College. Here you can see the states and who they're assigning the states to. Blue for Democrat, red for Republican, darker colors for more solidly Democratic states, and lighter colors for weaker Democratic states, and equally the same for Republicans. Darker colors for more solidly Republican states, lighter colors for more weak Republican states. You can see here that they're giving Joe Biden essentially the entire northeast coast, as well as the entire west coast, as well as what I call the shield area just behind the west coast. So that's Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. Here they're also giving the Rust Belt, namely Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois. They're giving that to the Democrats as well, or Joe Biden. But Ohio, they have Donald Trump at 50% against Joe Biden's 50%. So they've assigned Ohio, which is a Rust Belt state, they've assigned it a toss-up status. Iowa, toss-up. North Carolina, toss-up. Georgia, toss-up. Florida, toss-up. And Texas, toss-up. Minnesota, which I believe went to the Democrats last election. Yes, it did. There's Minnesota in the 2016 election. It went Democratic. They have reassigned it Democratic in the OurProgress forecast. Hawaii, Democratic. Alaska, Republican. Nothing surprising here. There hasn't been too much of a change. I suppose Virginia being strongly Democrat is, some people think Virginia is sort of up for grabs, but they've assigned it as a strongly Democrat state. Maine 2nd District, they have the way in which they assign electoral college votes is a little bit different in Maine 2nd District, as well as Nebraska's 2nd District. So they've left it a different color to reflect that. Here we have the popular vote totals. They expect Joe Biden to win about 74 million votes against Donald Trump's 63 million votes. So that's 11 million more votes for Joe Biden. I think this is the biggest lead I've seen so far in raw votes in the OurProgress forecast. So the lead appears to be widening. Here they assign Joe Biden 52.1% of the popular vote against Donald Trump's 44.6% of the popular vote. And for votes that are going to neither two major parties, that's 3.3% of the electorate for independents. Even if you assumed all of the independents went to Trump, that'd be 44.9 plus 3, 5, 6, 7, so 47.9% of the electorate is what Donald Trump would then be capable of winning according to this forecast, against Joe Biden's 52.1%. So Joe Biden is comfortably higher. That's where he's sitting right now. With respect to electoral votes, when you include the toss-ups as toss-ups and don't assign them to the parties, they have Joe Biden winning 289 electoral college votes against Donald Trump's 125. But when you assign the toss-up states to either party, they expect Joe Biden to win 389 electoral college votes against Donald Trump's 149. Here's a graph of how the race has changed over time. Here you see the winning odds. And you can see that Biden was sitting around 70% against Trump's 30%. And very quickly, when Bernie Sanders dropped out of the primary and Joe Biden became the presumptive nominee, Biden's odds exploded. He was sitting at basically 81% against Donald Trump, sort of 19%. Then at the point at which Joe Biden selected Kamala Harris as his running mate, his odds had climbed, and then they have since continued to climb. Biden's now sitting with odds of winning of 87.8%. against Trump's odds of winning of 12.2%, which you saw up here. That's where it's sitting, and that's what those little bubbles mean. Here's the vote percentage, so the expected vote percentage, and you can see that they started off sort of Joe Biden at 51% of the vote against Donald Trump's 45.75% of the vote. Bernie Sanders dropped out of the primary, and at that point, Joe Biden was sitting with 51.21% of the vote expected according to the OurProgress model against Donald Trump's 45.28% of the vote. At the point at which Joe Biden selected Kamala Harris as his running mate, Joe Biden's percent of the popular vote had already begun to climb. He was now sitting at around 51.68% of the popular vote against Donald Trump's 44.85% of the popular vote. And currently, Joe Biden is sitting at 52.1% of the popular vote against Donald Trump's 44.6% of the popular vote. Here's the electoral vote distribution. So the size of the bubble tells you how many electoral votes that state represents, and the color of the bubble tells you where they expect those electoral college votes to go. So as you can see, Joe Biden's largest basket of electoral college votes comes out of California with its 55 electoral college votes, as well as Texas has been assigned to Joe Biden. Has that always been the case? Not sure, but they've now assigned Texas to Joe Biden as well. As well as New York, Florida. So they're assigning Florida, which was previously a toss-up state, to Joe Biden, as well as lesser states such as Pennsylvania, Illinois, Michigan, etc. These are Joe Biden's biggest vote banks, as per the Electoral College system. Donald Trump, on the other hand, his biggest vote bank is in Ohio, and that's followed up by states such as Tennessee, Missouri, and Alabama, and Louisiana. So that's where Donald Trump, according to the OurProgress forecast, is getting his electoral college votes. Here's the third-party vote distribution. You can see a large vote distribution in Utah of third-party voters, a lot of Mormons, etc. over there, but also it's just a generally different culture over there. West Virginia as well has a large proportion of independent voters, and Vermont as well. But Utah is the biggest, with nearly 10% of their population, 1 in 10 people, just refusing to vote for one of the two major parties and voting essentially third party. Here's a breakdown of the popular vote. You can see where the literal voting ballots that each candidate is getting. That's Donald Trump and that's Joe Biden. So if you imagine a ballot coming through a voting box, of all the ballots, Donald Trump, the reason he's going to win whatever he wins in the popular vote is, according to the OurProgress forecast, is that they expect him to get 4.4 million ballots out of California, 5 million ballots out of Florida, 4.7 million ballots out of Texas, 2 million ballots out of Michigan, 2.6 out of New York, 2.7 out of Ohio, 2.7 out of Pennsylvania, etc. But Biden is tipped to win the popular vote. And as you can see, a lot of that has to do with California, where Biden is getting 9.6 million votes just out of California. Then that follows up with 5.1 million votes coming out of Florida for Biden, 4.7 million votes out of New York for Biden, 4.7 million votes out of Texas for Biden, 3.2 million votes out of Illinois for Biden, 3.1 million votes out of Pennsylvania for Biden, 2.7 million votes out of Ohio for Biden, and 2.5 million votes out of Michigan for Biden, 2.1 million votes out of Virginia, and 2.1 million votes out of New Jersey, 2.1 out of Georgia, and 2.1 million votes for Joe Biden out of Massachusetts. So that is the OurProgress forecast. That's how the race has changed over time. That is how the vote percentage has changed over time. Here's the popular vote expectation as it currently sits today. Joe Biden at 74 million votes against Donald Trump 63 million votes. Without the toss-up states assigned, Joe Biden sitting at 289 electoral college votes. You need 270 to win. So he's already winning when you don't assign these toss-up states. But when you do assign them, he's not just winning by a small margin over 270, he's winning by a large margin over 270 with 389 electoral college votes. So that is the OurProgress forecast. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, give it a follow, give it a subscribe, and post a comment in the comment section below. What do you think about this forecast? Is it too pessimistic for Biden? Is it too optimistic? Is it too pessimistic for Trump? Is it too optimistic? Oh, what about the third parties? Do you want to see more third parties, less, etc.? Post those in the comment section below, and thanks so much for watching.